Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. Tonight, a roundtable discussion about Black fatherhood as we celebrate the strong, loving, and often unsung heroes in our families and communities. We are also spotlighting a special group of dads who are helping to master the role of hair care for their children. They are not just learning the techniques, they are building lasting bonds. And we'll talk to these dedicated fathers about what inspired them to pick up the comb, brush, and products and love that comes with it. And they also share their brave children with us as we talk about what it really means to be a father. My guests are Joseph Colo, founder of Curl Dads. Joseph has a 7-year-old son, Jojo, you see him right there, and a 2-year-old daughter, who is, say again, Jojo?
What?
No, he can talk, go ahead.
My sister's name is Kyle.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also, we have Prince Williams. He's Chief Hair Care Officer for Curl Dad. He has 2 daughters, 15-year-old Jordan and 9-year-old Peyton. And of course, Cootie Mack, health and fitness advocate. He is the father of 11-year-old Emmanuel. Guys, thank you so much for joining this conversation. And certainly, happy Father's Day. Happy early Father's Day to all of you.
Right,
thank you. Same to you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my daughter Maya will actually be 27 years old this month, and she got her first apartment, so she's moving out.
Wow, wow.
No, she doesn't live with me. She actually lives with my mother near her job.
Okay,
but she's a whole grown woman, a whole adult. But I want to start. First of all, before we talk about the things that you guys are doing with your children's hair, I want to start first of all with you, Cootie, because you and I have talked about this whole fatherhood thing over the years. What does this weekend mean for you?
Oh, well, thank you for asking, man. And,
Sure.
and before I jump into that, don't let the haircut fool you. I got a lot of acumen when it comes to follicular, know-how. I'm in there. I love my kids' hair. I gave my kid the best froze as a youngin' coming up. So shout out to y'all. But as far as what this weekend means to me, it's an interesting thing because my father is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 years ago, wow, it's been a minute. 6 years ago, he was in critical care for 365 days, and I was his primary care. I was his primary helper, his primary advocate. And so when I think of Father's Day, I still think of it looking up. And it is still something that even after all these years, I still look up at not only my dad, but father figures around me. My mother came to me the other day. It was just like, so, what are you doing Sunday? And I was like, duh, I'm going to be with dad. And she was like, no, what are you going to be doing?
Right.
And it was like, oh, wow, I do me? You know what I mean? But that said, I love it as a holiday. It's a significant holiday. It's not something that takes a back seat even to say Mother's Day or anything else. I think that, fathers should be celebrated. And I get why it's de-emphasized. I do get it. But I definitely want to be part of the action and the movement and the real life example of why it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Joseph, for those who may be watching this, it's obvious that Jojo, your 7-year-old, likes you a little bit around the edges. And I joke about that, but I think the reality is that unfortunately there are so many children who don't like their fathers, don't know who their fathers are, or the relationships are always difficult. At 7 years old, what does it mean to be a father for you, and obviously have a son who loves you?
Yeah, I would say, it's funny, Cootie, you say about you having the skills with some of the hair. To be perfectly honest, Prince and I, the reason why this work that we'll talk about, but we don't have the skills. So we're looking to try to learn the skills, even though we're kicking this off right in the middle of it, learning ourselves. So this is, I've been looking to try to figure it out. But as a father of a 7-year-old, it's been one of the most amazing things. I mean, if not the most amazing thing, just being a father. I think that, a lot of us, I know there's always been the stereotypes that are out there. And it's so funny. So Prince and I have been friends since we've known each other in high school. We've been friends since our freshman year in college. And we were part of the same group chat. And all I know at this point in my life is just incredible fathers, right?
Exactly.
And it's amazing to see just how many of us are involved in so many ways that aren't part of the typical, I guess, the quote unquote gender roles or father mother roles, whatever the case is going to be. And when I think about being a father here with Joseph and Kyle, one of the most interesting things, I tell them all the time that you made me grow up so much, right? I've learned so much patience. I've learned how to, communicate my feelings. Be able to, and that's the negative feelings or the positive feelings right there in real time. And I think that when we think, we think about what that does for us just for our own life and, hopefully what he's able to do and Kyle's able to do for their children. It's just amazing to just kind of get that kind of feeling, just to know that, all right, we're in this space. I have great models that are all around me. I grew up with my mother. But me and my father have a relationship. We have a good relationship, excuse me. But I grew up with my mother, but it's been really great to kind of be here and be part of the, the day-to-day with the children and realize there's so many things that I do know, but there's so many things even here, 7 years in, that I'm still trying to pick up. One of them is this hair. Two is just some of the other areas. I'm learning about Common Core math and all that kind of stuff that is a little bit different than what we do. So it's a little bit different than the past, but it's been great.
Prince, you're the father of 2 girls. What's that like?
It's a journey, man. It's a journey, right? I think like most men, you go into this hoping for a boy, right? Hoping for somebody you can mold, play sports with, and kind of do the things or go in your footsteps and lead them in a better path than you, right? So being surprised with girls was like, what do I do now, right? And even in talking about the hair, right? I grew up in a household with my pops passed when I was 11, so I was really young. But I grew up in the household watching my father clean the house, watching my father help cook, right? So just like you were saying, gender roles, there were no gender roles in my household. So me growing up, me being a father, I wanted to do the same thing. Like I cook, I clean, and now I actually want to help with the hair, right? Because when the wife is gone and I have them alone, thinking that doing a simple ponytail was easy was the biggest joke for me. It was the biggest joke, right? So, and of course, your kids are a representation of you, right? So if they look crazy, you look crazy. So that was the biggest thing for me, man. I wanted to make sure that, I can do the things when my wife isn't there and their mother isn't there. Like I can step into that role, and my daughters can look at me, and it's not a "Where's mommy?" right thing. So it's always been a pleasure just making sure. And just like Joe said, we have a group of amazing fathers, and we share daily things that our kids are doing, things that we're doing, the little things that we do even just to have fun. I might get something from Joe. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that this weekend because he did it, right? So it's a blessing to have the friend group, the brotherhood, and the kids, because all of our kids are like cousins. It's great.
Cootie, when you look at Emmanuel, your daughter, what do you see?
Well, I'll tell you what everybody else sees is my face. And it's from, I'm talking from when she was in utero. Like I'm talking not even as big as my pinky, 6 weeks in the first sonogram. It looked like a profile picture of mine. Matter of fact, because of that, a lot of people presumed that she was going to be a boy. And when she came out, she was 10 pounds, diesel, full head of hair, guys, full head of hair. So I had to learn off the spot. So everybody just presumed I remember she came out, it was kind of like, oh yeah, it's a girl.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow. But as soon as I saw that she was a girl, it was just like the world just shifted. It was like, I got a girl, let's go. And when I look at her to this day, it's just amazing just to stare in her face and see myself, to be honest, and not even in a ego way or in a what's that word, in a narcissistic way, but just like I just see like innocence and learning, and man, it's the genetic thing is just really deep to me. Like there's a connection. I always believe that sometimes, I've always said in my life in times, that before I even had a daughter, that the prettiest women I knew always looked like their dads.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I think that might be something that was just that God just did to make sure that we took care of them.
For sure.
We saw ourselves in them.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what it is. When I see it, I just see the opportunity to mold a human being, especially a young lady, that will be a positive impact. That'll make the world one person better.
Yeah.
Than it was before she was around. And that's what I see every time I look at her, every time she does something that's magnificent, every time a teacher, a principal, coach tells me about how awesome she was when I wasn't there. Man, that's it for me.
That's cool.
Joseph, tell me about this Curl Dads event and give me kind of the cliff notes of how Curl Dads came together. You got about 2 minutes or so before I go into the break.
Oh yeah, no problem. So when it came down to the workshop, a lot of us, we've talked about, Prince talked about, a lot of us in our group, we realized, that I don't know if any of us can really do a hair well, right? So it's one of those things where you're like, man, it'd be so great if I could go and learn from somebody and, kind of go to a workshop where it's a safe environment, kind of go in that space and kind of fellowship with, other fathers or father figures. And, we talked about it for some time, and, it's funny, me and Prince talked about it quite a bit. And we came to the point where, like, you know what, we're at this point now where we want this to happen. Why not? Why don't we just kick it off? Right. So we got in touch with a couple, some expert stylists who will be able to walk us through. And even in our group chat, we talked about, like, what are the styles that we know, right? That we know how to do, or that we'd want to know. And it really came down to, like, how do we do the little puffs for our daughters? How do we do the ponytail, like Prince just mentioned? How do we do parting? Just something that seems so simple to do that at a high level. And then, of course, a little bit more complicated would be more like the 2-strand twist, as well as cornrows and flat twists. And when we came down to it, we decided, we like the idea of, curl dads, because it kind of sounds like girl dads, but it's not just for girls. It's for both, and it's just curldads.com. We're doing the workshop tomorrow. It's at Solaire Social right in Silver Spring, Maryland, from 2 to 6 p.m. So we've sold quite a few tickets, but there's still a few left because we made sure we picked a large venue because it's our first time kicking it off. But if for some reason you missed this one, we're going to be going to a couple of cities near you and kind of going there. I don't know if that's within the 2 minutes, but Prince might be able to speak to something as well. So.
Oh, yeah. It's curldads.com. Is that where you can find the information?
Yeah.
That's right. And
website.
it's Solaire Social at 8200 Silver Spring, Maryland, from 2 to 6. Is that correct?
That is
Absolutely.
correct.
It is a workshop, but it's going to be light. We're going to have food. People can have beverages if they want that, and we're going to have fun with it because we know it's we're all looking to try to figure out and come out with a new skill set. So we'll kind of follow up from there. So.
Yeah, real quick, Prince. Before I go into the break, your thoughts about the whole getting Curl Dads together.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. Again, it was just being able to step in. The big thing for me is, again, I have 2 girls, so it's funny how we have hair weekend, right? And for years, hair weekend meant that, all right, well, I can go to the bar for the day, or I can go hang out with the boys because there's nothing I can do in this space, right? From washing hair, you think it's simple, but it's not simple. Washing, curling, drying, and then doing the styling. So I want to make sure that's not a free weekend for me anymore. I want to be able to help, and I want all guys to feel that same way, that they can, help as well. So yeah, just excited for that.
Wonderful. Listen, as I said, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to hear from Joseph Jr. And we're also going to talk about some of the ups and downs of fatherhood and just really have a serious conversation about the importance of Black fathers, making sure that they are on the job, stepping into the space, and what that means. So guys, stand by, hold on. The Daily Drum will continue on Sirius XM channel 141. Don't forget, you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. We'll be back in just a bit on Sirius XM channel 141. as we sit at the Father's Roundtable. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM, channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our Father's Day Roundtable conversation. My guests are Joseph Colo. He is founder of Curl Dads. And of course, Joseph has a 7-year-old son, Jojo, or Joseph Jr. He also has a 2-year-old daughter. Jojo, what's your sister's name again?
Kyle.
Kyle, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, Prince Williams, Chief Hair Care Officer for Curl Dads, father of 2 daughters, Jordan Williams and Peyton Williams, 15 and 9 years old, respectively. Also, health and fitness advocate, Cootie Mack, a father of 11-year-old Emmanuel. Of course, I'm the old head in this group, father of Maya, who will be 27 years old this month, just in a couple of weeks. Ooh, happy birthday, sweetie. So as I said before the break, we were kind of talking about this whole fatherhood thing. Cootie, what was, if you can share, what was the most difficult part of fatherhood? If you could, share that with us.
This is the first time I think I've ever said this out loud. The most difficult part of fatherhood for me is post-divorce split custody. Mm-hmm. We have an amicable custody agreement, so it's not dramatic. So I don't want to paint that picture. But for me as a father, I never envisioned being a father who was only physically present half the time. That's still kind of nuts to me. Mm-hmm. I understand it, and I get it, but I just never even entered my mind once I was a father. So, so in that regard, I'm talking the first year or so of it, it would just rip me in half every time, I had to give up my time. Mm-hmm. Now that said, again, I want to be clear. We got a very amicable agreement. It's fair. It's 50-50. We even get midweek visits and the whole 9. Those midweek visits are policy for me. They're not even things where it's like, oh, I'll take the option if I can or can't. It's every chance I get to be with my kid, I take every single chance. And if there's something where, mother can't do something, I got it. Even if I don't, I got it. That's just the way it is. So for me, that was the toughest part. And if everything else, to be honest, when it gets tough or what seems like it would be a challenge, those are the parts I love. It's like, all right, how are we gonna figure this out? Like I love being a dad, man. I love sorting through the challenges. I love being present for all these things and laying a foundation where my kid can look back and be like, man, I can't even think. I remember she said that to me one time. She was just like, man, like, I know you'll be there. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking about a bunch of stuff. She said, well, I know you'll be there. Mm-hmm. And just that sentence alone, that's everything.
It is. I've been there, got that, got the 3-piece suit. And it is an adjustment. There's no question about that. And it is, particularly for me, because for you all are in the same geographical area. You all are geographically close.
With intention.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I was in Kansas City, and my daughter, who was very, very young, was in DC. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about being intentional, and it was expensive. I mean, look, I had a great job. I was a news anchor at a TV station in Kansas City, but it was still expensive. And every 2 months, I was flying home for 24 hours, Saturday morning, and then flying out Sunday And I did that for more than a year so that I could spend time with my child, and then, made a decision. Take a job on the West Coast for a lot of money, or take a job here at home, 55 miles away, for considerably less. It is a decision that I did not and will never regret.
Amen.
Because I am here, and so I think that was one of the difficult things. Prince, what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you as a father?
Yeah, mine. Very interesting, right? So again, my pops passed when I was 11, and as men, we mimic, right? We watch others, we watch our fathers do their thing, right? So you have a baseline. Up until 11, I had that, right? So my biggest challenge was when my daughter turned 11, turned that age. It was like, now what? Right? Like what to expect, right? How do you see your father at that age? How do you be a father at that age? I didn't have that, right? So I had no idea what to expect, what to see. So now my daughter is 15, about to be 16 at the end of this year. It's like something new every single day.
You're in my prayers. You're in my prayers.
Yeah, so man, I text my boys all the time. Like, and I have the oldest of all of us. Again, my daughter's 15. She's the oldest out of all the cousins. And every day I'm sending them something new. Oh, here's something else to expect, guys. Like, so that's been the biggest challenge right there, is just that unknown of not only having kids and having that new age every single day, but also as a father, not understanding or knowing what to expect, because I didn't have that at that age. So I think that's definitely been my roughest road.
Jojo, let's talk to you for a minute. You've been sitting there, strangling your dad. And first of all, I think everybody would agree you are a really good-looking young fellow
and well behaved.
Yeah. You're a good-looking guy. But tell me about your dad.
Well, he is funny and smart. He helps me with hard things, and he gives me support when I need it, and he be's real chill about bad things I do in my life.
Mm-hmm. So when you all hang out, because I'm sure sometimes you all hang out without your sister, without your mom, what do you do?
Well, we're doing that right now. We are sitting in a room. We're in a graduation, in a night cozy king size bed, and seriously, they call it king size bed.
Yes, yeah, I'm familiar.
We're coming here. She graduates today, rather. So we came out here to support her and celebrate her graduation. So so we're in Spokane, Washington right now. So we
goodness,
for graduation, and then we're going back to DC, BWI a little bit later today. So we try to spend some time. If we're at home, what are some of the things that we kind of do, and we're just hanging one-on-one at home?
Yeah.
I usually ride bikes, play video games with my dad.
Is he any good?
What?
Is he
He's
any
good?
good?
Yeah. He's good, but he got it all from me.
That makes sense. I mean, who else could he possibly get it from? Joseph, what is it like to watch this development of JoJo and to see him begin to evolve?
It is incredible. I will say, it's I mean, just the day-to-day is he's just this wonderful, brilliant child, right? Just spending my time with my children and my family is one of the best joys, if not the best joy that I've had in my life. And it's interesting going there, because I said it, I have a great relationship with my father, even though, but And I just think of it like, you know, even though growing up with my mother, it's been great that like we've been able to like, I've been able to learn a lot, you know, and maybe in adulthood, and learned a lot from my mother, of course, kind of coming up in that time. But now having my son, you know, as Prince said, having the son first, I was like, all right, like, what do I do here? Like, what are some of the things I need to do? Like, you know, and I think of it, you know, we want to, of course, provide for our family in so many ways. But the biggest part that I've found through just myself and even just talking over the years is just to be present. Right. So when we're home, we try to, you know, put the distractions away and do things that are just or one-on-one or just us as a family, as opposed to, you know, I want to do all the things and have all the fun. We do a lot of that. We love to travel. Right. But when we're at home, we know that it's time for us just to learn and actually listen, because it's funny at 7, some of the things he can come up with. It is, you know, you think that you're at first grade and just a kid, but there's a really smart child, you know, really smart children, and they know so much and they teach us so much. And we have a really good friend in our group chat who is within the week about to become a father for the first time, and we keep telling him, you've got, you know, it's you know, it's a shift to the system, obviously, when you lose sleep and all that in those first couple of months, but there's no way to describe how wonderful it is, just the day to day. And the small things. And I just think of a friend. You can look at your child and for no reason at all, think you're just in a good spot. Then you start breaking down, positive crying. That's why Cootie already knew what it was. You'll just start crying out of nowhere, and it's a positive cry, and it's just because you had no idea how just incredible, you know, this feeling is. So it's wonderful.
And something I wanted to say, just to us here and fathers at large, you know, I remember in one moment where I was really testing my father's patience as a young teenager, and I mean, probably one of the biggest head-to-heads we had, and he just, like, in a fit of just rage, he just goes, "Man, you act like there's a book for this, like you know, like there's a book on how to be a dad."
Right.
On about, you know, just not doing something. And I thought to myself back then, as a snotty-nosed kid, like, dude, you're a father, and there's been a gazillion fathers before you. You should know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
But that line always stuck in my head. And the further along in life I got, the more I started realizing, even before I had a kid, and then when I definitely had a kid, I was like, oh, there isn't a manual for this. So, and every day is something different. And even if you have 3 kids, they're not all going to be the same. So there's always something new. So to Prince, to Joe, man, to you, Harold, or anybody listening, you know, all you have to do, like Joe said, is focus on being present.
Yeah.
Man, and just embrace the fact that there's always going to be something new. No day is like the one before. Because when you're present, you don't have regrets about what you didn't do in the past. Like, you know, I mean, my kid is blossoming like crazy. Grew a whole foot like last year, you know, and so I asked her the other day, I was like, when you look in the mirror, do you see the same person? She was like, nah, because she had just got braces. So she's like, I don't recognize myself. And I said, that's the thing. But because I got all the pictures and kissed and pinched the cheeks as much as I could when she was a little baby, and did the fro when she was a little kid, you know, I don't regret that. I just look forward to what's next. So there isn't a manual, but all you got to do, the desire to be the best dad alone and asking all the questions, even if the answers don't come back to you, because sometimes dudes aren't the best about giving information out. You know, I was there for my daughter's first period. You know what I mean? Solo, handled it though. But you know, but my point is that, you know, asking the dudes about it, it was like, you know what I mean? Nobody had answers. You know, but when you purpose yourself to be the best, that immediately will put you to the top of the heap in terms of how fathers are and where you will rank amongst fathers. I promise you.
You know, one of the things also, and I think this kind of goes back to the Curl Dads group, but I think even more broadly,
That's me.
my core of fellas, the guys that I have known since junior high school, you know, my boys, you know, my running buddies, are magnificent fathers. And I'm thinking about it now, but I thought about it last week, and I thought about it last month. I'm constantly thinking, because, you know, my buddy Butch, I met him in 10th grade. He has 2 daughters. The oldest is a college graduate. She's down at Disney World doing her thing, working. You his youngest daughter is an accomplished and growing operatic singer, among other things. Dexter has a son who is grown, and he was the first of the guys, and he's a homeowner and just doing the right thing. That his youngest son is in school and making the family proud. Ron, who has two children, a girl and a boy, both of them are adults, and he's had challenges, but he has always been a great father. Rob, whose son is on the autism spectrum, he's been on this program talking about that and the challenges there. He is a wonderful father. And so I can point to all of the guys and say unequivocally that you didn't just do the best that you could, you have done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
For Black fathers, where there are all kinds of struggles that are pressing on all sides. And there are joys and there are obviously challenges. And so I say all of that with this question in mind, Prince. So far, what has been the best time? What is the thing that brings you absolute joy, that moment or situations around your children?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but take you back to an old story, Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember when you get Tinkerbell and they put that dust on you. In order to fly, they ask you, what's your happy thought, right? What's your happy thought, right? And up until having kids, I was like, what is your happy thought, right? What is that? What's that thing that will make you fly, right? And to this day, I remember when my oldest, the first time I made her laugh. Like really, as a little baby, I remember she pooped all over herself. I had her in the bathtub and trying to wash her up, and I think I slipped or something. She looked at me and she just laughed. And the first time actually hearing her laugh, and to this day, I think about that, and it just like brings joy, and I laugh. Sometimes might be a tear, sometimes, right? So having those moments with your kids are just amazing. But I can definitely say also that I know you were just giving a shout out to all of your friends, your friend group. We do something every year, and I think we're on our fourth year this year, and it's called Dunkle Weekend. And it's the dads and the uncles, right?
Oh,
we all
okay.
get a house every summer, and it's just us and the kids. And the first year we did it, it was fun, but we didn't realize what an impact we made to the kids. Like they talk about it all year. They are excited for them. We're doing it again next year. They're so excited for it. It brought the kids together as like real cousins. And they talk about each other. My daughter did like a paper in school, and she was talking about one of the cousins, which isn't her real cousin, right? But amongst us, because of the dads and the uncles, that they grow up as cousins. And I love to see that journey. That's something I didn't have. I had my real cousins as a kid, right? But, today we're all so spread out. We don't really grow up with family. We really grow up with friends more than we do with family nowadays. So I love the bond that not only that my boys have, but I also love the bond that we're building with our kids as well. So, and again, it's dads and uncles, so you don't have to have, kids to be a part of that, because the kids, they talk about the uncles more than they talk about the actual dads in some of these memories. So it's a really good time.
Yeah. What about you, Joseph? What has been that thing so far about being a father that just lights your head up?
Yeah, I would say, I absolutely agree with Dunkel. That's one of my, it is, I look forward to it every single year. The kids look forward to it. He's been asking about it. All the kids, my daughters get a chance to come for the first time this year. So I very much look forward to that one, because it's such a great memory. And his Prince, as he said, has the oldest daughter. So we're always where I was like, all right, is this still cool? Do you still like this? She'll be 16 this year. Yeah, she still wants to do it. And, it's different with the 7-year-olds, 3-year-olds and all that. But the older children still want to come as well. But I would say, you list out all the things, right? And all the funny things, all the I said we love to travel, anything we've done. And if I think about what my favorite thing is on a day-to-day basis, and I don't know if he'll get it right, but I think he hears it from me. JoJo, if I talk about what's my favorite part of the day, on a day-to-day basis, what's my favorite part of the day?
Me.
Well, what part? Like what's
the morning, the morning.
Okay.
The morning.
Okay. So the reason why I say, and I kind of going there, but there's a benefit because, we think about all the, the Disney, all that kind of stuff, which is amazing, right? They're going to be incredible pictures, memories, and all that. But the day-to-day of just, getting up, making breakfast, hanging, in the morning, sometimes running to the bus, all that kind of stuff, but what I look at, I love those moments, despite sometimes a little nerve-wracking, right? That's why I think it's one of the most amazing parts of fatherhood, just having that time as we get ready in the morning with, and just that sometimes not always calm, but some of the peace that comes right before they kind of go to, school or camp or whatever the case is. That moment in the morning is just amazing because you just see them and they have a 5-year gap and they bond so well. I mean, my little girl is really coming into her full on and showing her personality. She's super sweet and she loves her big brother. And so it's great to watch them have that time just to hang out and kind of sit there too. As you see, he keeps her entertained, as you can imagine. And they have some good times. So
yeah, those 2-year-olds, those are some critical, those 2-year-old girls. They can be big critics. It's like writing for the New York Times and watching a play. What about you, Cootie? And what is that big moment or thing about Emmanuel that is just perfect for you?
There are so many, but I'll say this. I like to cook or prepare food. We've talked about, when you used to post stuff online. And so I didn't realize this, but it's become a thing. I prepare a meal and I like to plate it the whole night. So I'll prepare a meal the whole night and I put it on the table and boom, it's in front of her. She sits and looks at it, checks it all out, fork and knife, first bite, sits there for a second. Good, Dad.
Thumbs up.
Every time. One time I didn't get the thumbs up, and I was just kind of like, and it was like being on Hell's Kitchen or something, right? And she goes, "It's not bad. It just tastes interesting."
Wow.
But other than that, it's just boom. Cauliflower's on, Dad. Yes. What did you do different here? Like it's literally, and it's not like, and I didn't realize it, but it became a thing. I just stopped like, wait, it's not complete until she takes until we said grace, which is another moment, just praying with her. And then she takes a bite and just, okay, yeah, this is it.
It's pretty cool.
So that for me every day.
I would say for my, and like you said, Cootie, there have been so many. Yeah. And you guys are going to get to this point. So please, mark my words and look forward to this. The point, and it's going to happen for me this weekend because she has already sent a text. Mm-hmm. Where are we going to eat this weekend? What are we going to do this weekend? And because it is, a celebration of, of our bond, and she's grown, she's an adult, and to be able to, and she's a foodie like I am. So she wants to find, an elegant restaurant where we can sit and enjoy something that is unique, and to be able to sit there and look at her and have her order wine legally and responsibly, and for us to have those kind of discussions and to also have those adult discussions. And we hear that Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever, she's always going to be my baby. There's no question about it. But to see that she has come through childhood, adolescence, college, and is a good person.
Yeah.
That is, that is an absolute joy of joys for me, where we can talk to each other like adults, and she can give her opinion,
Yeah.
and all of that. I do need to say this, and I think this is particularly important. As you guys, are I'm sure well aware, there has been tragedy in our community this week with the loss of 19-year-old Kyle Coleman, the young man, that the Morehouse freshman who lost his life. And I had the privilege of interviewing his mother and father. And this is, I'm sure, going to be a very difficult weekend for his father. And I just wanted to say to Keith Coleman and his wife Sim, that we are certainly keeping them in their thoughts, and there's nothing that we can do, certainly, to help alleviate the pain on this Father's Day weekend. But I just want to say he is another great father, great father. And I think that it is always important for us to realize that this is a special day, and we can't take that for granted. So I just wanted to make sure that we put that out there. But look, Joseph, Prince, Cootie, have a wonderful Father's Day weekend, guys.
Likewise.
Likewise, you as well, man.
Yeah, and thank you all so much for spending some time with us. And for both of you guys, this is all of you guys. It's just the beginning.
Yes, definitely. Enjoying the journey.
Absolutely. It most certainly is. Just watch out for those speed bumps and those potholes in that journey.
There you go.
That's the fun part.
Thank you all guys so much. And JoJo, be good, kid.
Yeah, man.
Be good.
Definitely.
There you go. That is the Daily Drum. That is the Daily Drum for this Friday, June 13th. For News Director Renee Nash, I'm Harold Fisher. Good night.